today's video, we are gonna get comfortable going fast. Now you may be asking, why the heck do you ever need to go fast when you're on a catwalk that is really flat so you don't get stuck and have to unstrap and carry out? And now let's say that you're running from the cops. Just kidding. You're gonna go hit a ginormous jump. Well, then you're also gonna need the ability to go fast in a strong body position. Before going extremely fast, we gotta understand what the fall line is. If you had a bowling ball and you were to roll it down the hill, where exactly would that path of the ball go? Now, when we point our board down that fall line, we're gonna accumulate the most amount of speed. As we turn our board across the fall line, that's when we slow down. Anytime you wanna go fast, point your board down the fall line. You wanna slow down? Point your board sideways. Pretty simple, but very important to know. You gotta have an extremely powerful / strong stance that allows you to handle the terrain. First, you make sure your shoulders and hips are perpendicular to the angle of your front foot. So for my front foot, my binding is at 15 degrees, so I will actually have my lead shoulder and hip slightly rotated open, but you're gonna notice that I am not completely 45 or even 90 degrees open. I'm gonna be in a very optimal position to allow me to have a greater range of motion, better performance, and better balance. Keep your shoulders and your hips and your board parallel to the angle of the terrain or feature that you are on. So as you're going down a really gnarly slope, you want to make sure you have your weight distributed evenly between both feet as you're going down the mountain. But if I'm not parallel, essentially that means that all my weight's in my back foot, my shoulders are up, and I'm not in an optimal position to be able to go fast and handle anything that's thrown at me. And the last big fundamental aspect of a strong stance is keeping your weight over the effective edge. Now, anytime my weight is on the wrong edge, I catch an edge and crash. So that's extremely important. With that out of the way, we're gonna go do a couple drills on how to be more awesome at going fast while staying in control, being comfortable, and sending it. So today's video is actually sponsored by me and SnowboardingSecrets.com. And in the membership, the ultimate goal is to make you as awesome as possible. So you're gonna get 2 mobility classes per week. You're gonna get coaching every week where you jump on a live Zoom call and you come vibe with me. And I'm gonna be offering 2 workout programs every single month. So sign up, the link is gonna be down below. And you can sign up for 7 days for free. Try it out, come vibe with me. And if you love it, hop on in. If you don't like it, all good, love you anyways. But try it with no risk. Let's go. So now let's dive into a couple useful drills. They're gonna change your snowboarding and make you way more comfortable when it comes to going fast. So the first thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna simply get comfortable pointing our board straight down the fall line on a flat base. So now you may not use a perfectly flat base all the time, but this is a great drill to understand, are you in the right body position? Now the goal is to have our weight distributed evenly between our toes and our heels and our left foot and our right foot. Whether you're regular goofy, it doesn't really matter. You're gonna point your board straight down the fall line and you're gonna count to 3. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, and then you're gonna stop. Now the goal is to look back uphill in the path that you've created and to make sure that your board is perfectly flat. Now, if you have a little bit more of a deeper carve on one side versus the other, that is an indication that you have your weight distributed wrong in terms of being on your toes or your heels. So go ahead and perform that task again, but really try to understand how to get my board to be flat. The other thing that you're trying to prevent is your board from rotating as you're doing this drill. If your board is going perfectly straight down the fall line, you're in a good stance. If the tail of your snowboard is trying to move sideways, even 45 degrees, that's an indication that your lead shoulder is way too open towards your heel side, causing the board to rotate. So the easiest way to correct it is get that shoulder back into that nice stance we talked about earlier, keep both knees bent, and sink your belly button just a little bit. And after you've done this drill, I want you to do it again, but let's make it a little bit more challenging by holding it for a 5 count. Once you've done it for a 5 count, check. The same thing we just did on the 3 count, and then the next step would be add it to a 7 count. Can you hold a straight, flat base for a 7 count without going to your toes, your heels, or having your board go sideways? Obviously, at this point, you're gonna accumulate a lot of speed, so if you need to slow down, slow down. Now let's continue on with this drill, but we're gonna once again make it challenging. We're gonna go back to a 5 count, flat base, and we're gonna see within that 5 count, can we do a full squat, meaning I'm really tall to start with, and I'm gonna get as low as possible and stand back up while remaining in the strong stance, while staying on flat base and not going edge to edge, but can I get low and come back up? Now you may experience that you get on your toes a little bit too much. A lot of that comes from dropping your shoulders over your toes instead of letting your belly button sink down. The goal is to sink your belly button down in a perfect neutral stance. Again, not too much weight on your toes, your heels, and get as low as possible. Let's dive into a new drill. At this point, you should feel pretty awesome about your stance and being flat base, and use that as a drill, but not a common riding practice. So with that said, instead of being flat base all the time, I actually like to be on a slight edge, whether that's toe side or heel side. I like to be on a slight edge. The reason why is if I'm on a slight edge or a slight carve, I have constant connection with the ground. More importantly, I have grip. Now that grip allows me to turn quick, to handle terrain, to do a lot of amazing things at any given moment. Now, sometimes our snowboarding is very reactionary and sometimes it's very, you anticipate what's happening, but if I'm on a slight edge, I can have the balance of both. Now let's dive into some very similar drills, but with the emphasis of staying on an edge and creating grip as much as we can. This whole entire time, I'm not expecting you to have a gnarly edge. I actually want you to be in the opposite, where you have a very gentle edge, where you're still carving, but it's not flat base. So I like to hang out around the 5 to even 10 degree range of tilt on my board for this next set of drills. Once again, we're gonna be pointing our board down the fall line, and we're gonna try to stay in a nice stacked position while being on an edge, but with the challenge and emphasis of trying to create a straight, perfect line. Now this is really challenging because we do have a radial side cut. Our board is designed to turn every time we put pressure on it, but this is more of a finesse movement more than a power movement. So the goal is to do a 3 count, 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, as you point your board down the fall line, and then take a nice turn and look back uphill. What you should see is a nice, gentle carved line. Again, we're not seeing a flat base wide path or trail in the snow. It should be a nice carve without making a super abrupt turn. I'd love for you to do this for both your heel side and your toe side turn. Once you're feeling pretty comfortable with a 3 count, then you're gonna go to a 5 count and then a 7 count. Obviously, as you transition into the 5 and the 7 count, you're gonna start going really fast, but if you're in that strong body position and you're on a slight edge, you're gonna feel like you have extra grip. And as I get faster and faster, I do like taking my center of mass and getting lower, just so I feel like I have more range of motion. So if anything does come up, that I can handle it like a shock in a car. Now let's step it up just a little bit, not necessarily by adding more speed, but let's add more range of motion in your snowboarding. So we're gonna start with 1 squat, then 3 squats, and then 5 squats, both on your heel side and toe side. What this is going to do is allow you to get into greater range of motion. So as you start going faster and faster, you can start handling a lot more terrain and a lot more high speed maneuvers in a controlled environment. Now we've done a lot of flat-based stuff and very one-directional stuff. So the next drill we're gonna get into is making as many quick edge changes as possible while going straight down the fall line from edge to edge in a carve. This is extremely useful for when you need that panic moment to go from edge to edge. So let's practice it before we need it. But the #1 key to this drill is your body position. I'm such a big advocate for strong body positions, so stay true to it. If you are struggling with this drill, it's because you're not in a strong body position. You're making things worse. So the ideal body position is back to that original stance. Get your belly button low, and then you're gonna make rapid turns heel to toe, and toe to heel. Now we do that by pressing our knees over our toes to get on our toe side edge. So to do the toe side edge, we're gonna press both of our knees over our toes, allowing us to engage that edge, and then we're gonna immediately push our knees back and lift up our toes, and then we're gonna repeat that cycle back and forth as much as possible. Well, right now, where I'm at, it's freaking slushy and amazing, so you're gonna be able to see the track and how easy and quick it is. But this is extremely useful drill for those situations that you're not sure that you're gonna get into until you're already in them. So, let's go. So our final drill is to actually go as fast as we can in a safe environment. So please, at your own discretion, I'm not encouraging you to go fast and cut off ski patrol, cut people off, like snaking people. Do this at your own discretion. So first and foremost, you take responsibility for your snowboarding. But as you're comfortable, try to go fast, point your board down the fall line with a slight edge, and I actually want you to get your belly button as low as you can and get into a nice aerodynamic position and hold that aerodynamic position for a 3 count, a 5 count, and then a 7 count. And then equally as important, make sure you come to a stop and you're in control. Want to maximize your season while preventing injury? If so, check out the link in the description below where I offer 2 mobility classes and coaches classes every single week where we get to hang out, we get to vibe, and I get to make you more awesome while minimizing injury. Sounds amazing, right? If so, check out the link down below. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. It got really technical, really nerdy, but my goal from this video is to make you comfortable with speed by giving you the tools to handle whatever comes at you. But I will be making a version 2.0 of this drill and actually going fast in different situations that we have covered in this video, such as running out of a cliff, going into a high-speed jumps, and we're going to talk about more specifically those aspects. So make sure you subscribe to the channel because we're going to be putting out content all the time. So give this video a like, share it with a friend. You're amazing, and thank you so much for hanging out. Nothing but love. We vibing.